Nintendo has done it yet again. Soaring into everyone's sights like a paper plane, Paper Mario, the Origami King, has unfolded upon the world in a Shadow Drop trailer. There's a lot to unfurl here, so we'll be taking an in-depth look at it all. I'll include timestamps down in the description below for points of interest to everyone. Let's start off by flipping through the trailer. The trailer opens up with a rather visually stunning shot of the interior of Peach's castle, focusing on the doors as they open. Even from this opening shot, the visuals behind the world can really be appreciated, as everything already looks crafted. I'm particularly fond of the uneven look on the tile floor seen here, as it really makes this whole world feel handcrafted. Anyway, so the doors open and out steps an eerie Princess Peach, greeting us with a quiet, "How good to see you," before cutting to a later part of this early cutscene. How can we tell it's later? Well, take a look at where she stops to give her greeting. Now, right after the cut, look at where she stands at the top of the stairs. This isn't simply a change in camera angle, she's moved more forward to be at least lined up with these lights, and closer to the stairs. It's likely she speaks some more ominous words to Mario, before asking this question, "Will you crease yourself and be reborn like me?" Seriously, the trailer opening up with something this sinister is really cool and invokes some feelings from Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door when Peach got possessed by the Shadow Queen. Still, this talk of rebirth is almost cultist. Anyway, before moving on, I want to point out some details we can see about the castle. First off, this is the front room of the castle, as we can see the sun design on the floor from Super Mario 64, among other games. The design of this room seems to be a mix of its Mario 64 and Paper Mario 64 appearances. Once Peach's question disappears, we can see a bit more of the castle before her next text box and the moving camera hide some more stuff from view. Back here, we can see some sort of short-looking doorway or tunnel. Unfortunately, we can't really make it out much, but it's possible we go through this door before confronting Peach, or maybe it's a sign that we'll be going through here again later. If we skip a little bit ahead though to when Mario is dropped into the abyss, we can actually see that it is indeed a door, and there's one on both sides. Interestingly, this door on the left appears to be open, while the one on the right isn't. Did something come through here during the full cutscene that we weren't shown in this full trailer? The next scene takes us to some sort of dungeon. We can see some of Bowser's minions are being held here, as 3 Origami Shy Guys come in to take them away, which we can see happening from the shadows in this next shot. Poor Bowser is folded up in a sort of book-like shape, held by a clothespin suspended by a rope. The following scenes lead me to believe this dungeon where Bowser is held is actually in the depths of Peach Castle, but I'll go more into that later when I go over the order of events. Moving on, the scene changes to the top balcony of the central tower of Peach's Castle, just outside the door as we can see here on the left. The yellow Shy Guy from the previous scene reveals itself to actually be the Origami King. He then ascends to the top of the tower and activates some kind of magic, summoning some sort of ribbons or streamers from various locations. We can see a yellow ribbon climbing over some sort of canyon, judging by the rugged looking cliffs. The blue ribbon comes swinging around from behind some mostly grassy mountains. We can see what appears to be a ski lift or gondola lift going between the mountains. This middle mountain seems more important given its different coloration. The next shot appears over Toad Town, where we can see a red ribbon coming in from the lower right, a green coming from just south of the town, and a purple coming from the left. At this point in the trailer, we can't tell where they're coming from, but I'll get back to that later. I do, however, want to stay on this shot for a moment to take a good look at Toad Town. Unlike past entries in the series, it seems the entirety of Toad Town will fit in one loading zone, and won't be broken up. That being said, you won't be able to access the full town right away. You can see various large pieces of origami blocking the way to the rightmost section of town. Same goes for the left side. Down here in the south, we can see the entrance to Toad Town, with some sort of gate or sign to pass under. We can see a path down here in the bottom left, possibly the main path leading to Toad Town. Down near the center town square by the entrance, we can see what appears to be an item shop. The iconic Toad House look from various other Mario games, plus the double hammer sign. Next to it is a rather distinct building that seems fairly similar to a museum. There was a museum in Paper Mario Sticker Star and Paper Mario Color Splash for the various stickers and cards. Could there be something like that in this game? Unfortunately, we have no idea on that, nor the status on things from previous games. so right now the purpose behind this museum is really unknown. We can't make out the purpose of the rest of the buildings in town, though we have some ideas for the ones on the right here. This dark red and black building connected to the docks might be some sort of ship warehouse, perhaps. This thing just north of it seems to be a gondola lift going off to the east. Maybe this connects to the gondola lift in the mountains that the blue ribbon comes from. The only other thing of interest from this view of Toad Town is this path in the northeast separated by a broken wooden bridge, seemingly not only leaving town, but also showing a second side entrance to Peach's Castle. What's the significance of this? Could there be a point in time where the drawbridge at the main entrance is lifted and you need to get in from the side? Well, it may not actually be a side entrance to the castle itself. If we zoom in really close, we can see it specifically enters one of the wall towers, and just over here we can see stairs to the top of another wall tower. Actually, this is the only wall tower with stairs, so that's probably where this side door leads. The only question is, why? In fact, we can see more proof of this being the case if we look at the next scene of the trailer. We can see the ribbons start circling and grabbing different parts of the castle. As it zooms out to show the castle engulfed by all the ribbons, we can see on the right that very same tower with the stairs leading up, and what appears to be a blocked off or fenced off path around it, most likely meaning if you enter that side door to Peach's Castle, you can only get to this tower. As the castle further gets entangled in colorful ribbons, we see a Shy Guy piloting the Koopa Clown car, likely flying in for a rescue. As pointed out by Haji on Twitter, this bears a striking resemblance to a similar scene from Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. We then see Mario, Bowser, and as revealed through other media, Olivia, the sister of the Origami King Ollie, all escaping from Peach's Castle before it's too late, running on the rooftop to land in the Koopa Clown car. Good old Shy Guy coming in for the rescue. As the group escapes, the ribbons are used as a scene transition to gameplay. We're first taken to a nice foresty landscape. It's peaceful. There's a nice pond of water reflecting the trees. There's little plants. There's holes in the ground? As I mentioned back in Peach's Castle, I love the attention to detail to make this world look completely crafted. It takes it even further than they did in Paper Mario Color Splash. As we can see here, and in various other points in the trailer, there are some holes in the crafts, revealing a sort of wireframe structure beneath, likely holding all the crafts in place and to their proper shapes. This likely isn't naturally occurring either, and has to do with the Origami King affecting the world. I'm not really sure of the significance of these right now though. Perhaps we need to unfold origami obstacles as the story progresses and it fixes these spots? It's certainly different from colorless spots in Color Splash, as these look more like they can be actual obstacles. Anyway, we can see a treasure chest back here in the shadows that hasn't been opened. Interestingly, these trees all have eyes, and I really hope at least some of them blink. It's really common for various things in nature and to have eyes in the Mario universe, but I don't remember if we've had common trees like this before. This is likely really early in the game too, as Mario has 50 HP, and we don't see anyone with him. This was the starting amount in Color Splash as well. There's also this green icon with a bag on it below the HP, though we don't really know what it's for. I'll come back to this later though. The next scene shows a return to Toad Town. We can see a giant papier-mâché Goomba eating this yellow building, and yes, specifically eating, as the text points out. Before the Goomba turns around, we can see a symbol on its back, which I'm pretty sure is a cue to hammer it. The next scene seems to be when Mario first meets Olivia. The look of the area seems to be the same dungeon that Bowser and his minions were in from earlier in the trailer. Olivia seems to be stuck on the wall before turning around, and Mario is standing on a darkened icon for his new ability, but we'll get a better look at that later. Next, we're in the previously mentioned gondola lift. We can see all the surrounding hills outside the windows. Mario and Olivia are sitting comfortably, with this smug Bob-Omb somehow crossing its legs to introduce itself. Something neat to note about this dialogue, as pointed out by @Lacebians on Twitter, the dialogue bubbles are different depending on if the character is made of paper or origami, though, as shown later, this doesn't seem to apply to Olivia. This seems to be when Mario first meets this Bob-Omb, who is seemingly his first party member or some sort of traveling companion. The following scene is in a mountainous area. It's hard to tell if it's the same mountains from the previous scene with the gondola lift, or if this is perhaps with all the cliffs where the yellow ribbon came from. Mario is running through some tall grass or some sort of plant, with only his head poking out. We can see that something is following him closely behind, most likely his partner. There's a sign with some sort of little shrine looking thing up here, which probably plays into some sort of puzzle, and there's a question mark block over here. We can see the path continues to the upper right, leading to a suspension bridge. Interestingly, Mario is now at 70 HP and seems to have obtained a 1-up mushroom. This probably means if his health drops to 0, he'll be revived with some HP instead of getting a game over. Another point of interest is that this bag icon below the HP is now glowing, unlike in the earlier scene. We're then brought to Mario taking a not-so-leisurely ride in a gondola down a river. This blue toad seems to be rowing, while Mario jumps for coins. We can see right above them that this is the blue ribbon from earlier as well, so this must be that orange-colored mountain. Once the gondola makes it down the slope, the UI slides back into view. We can see that this is actually like a minigame. The gondola has at least 5 HP, meaning it could take damage. Maybe that's why we have a move control down here at the bottom. A throw confetti button may just be my favorite little feature though. If only they showed it off! Below the gondola HP, we can see the bag icon is glowing here as well. The next scene is a bit familiar, yet different. Mario stands on a now lit up symbol, using the 1000 folds arm ability. Given his reaction looking at his hands, this is very likely the first time he uses this ability. This is a pretty short scene, and there really isn't much to say about it otherwise. Moving on, we can see Mario and Olivia are in some sort of hot spring, given the steam around the water and Olivia's very red face. They're joined by Kamek and Bowser Jr. This appears to be in some sort of forest or jungle area, going off the kind of trees we can see in the background. There's some sort of hut off to the right as well. This hot spring may be artificial, as there's a chain in the background connected to the giant tree. Maybe pulling that chain pulls a plug and all the water drains? This water also appears to be coming out of this large tree in the background. Given the way this scene plays out, it seems Kamek and Bowser Jr. are already on Mario's side here. The next clip shows the inside of some sort of desert temple. We can see that everything is made to look old and cracked. There's some murals on the wall of rather lanky looking toads. Mario and some sort of yellow explorer toad are looking around the corner. Given that nobody else is with Mario, this toad could be another partner of some sorts. Around the corner, we can see the shadow of a faceless toad, as well as some damaged ground much like the first gameplay scene, though this time it definitely appears to be more of an obstacle. Perhaps Mario can simply jump over it, or maybe you jump over the short wall over here next to it. Anyway, moving on. We're taken to another section of the desert. This tower over here is very likely where the previous scene took place. There's various desert dunes and origami pokies around. Mario moves around in a shoe-shaped vehicle. This seems very familiar. Anyway though, unlike the gondola scene, we aren't shown any sort of UI for controls. There are some glowing circles in the sand, maybe showing some sort of collectible like hidden coins. In the background, we can see something casting a light before it gets obscured behind some hills. Near there appears to be either a treasure chest or a bill blaster, possibly some sort of shop stand. It's honestly very hard to tell. The same goes for this thing in the sand over on the left. It appears to be something sort of buried in the sand, possibly a bit folded. It almost looks like a yellow toad, as you can kind of make out the white head and yellow spots. As a final detail for this clip, the yellow ribbon floats overhead and passes by that tower, so that seems to be a pretty important location to the plot. Next is a couple of short clips, the first of which is a large boulder rolling off of a cliff. There really isn't much to say here, other than Mario will likely have to run from it. The second is a bunch of origami paper planes soaring and coming down for a strike. In this next clip, we can see Mario running from a giant rolling obstacle. There appears to be indentations in it, so maybe Mario can't actually outrun it and has to line up with one of the indents to make sure he survives. We can see a save block right behind here too, so getting crushed by this likely insta-kills and sends you back to that save point. There appears to be some sort of lava or fire behind the save block as well, so perhaps this takes place in a fiery location. We're then shown a bit more of the 1000-fold arms ability back in Toad Town. We can see from the UI here that the arms are controlled with motion controls. Mario pulls out a perforated shape in the side of this building, folding it down to act seemingly as a sort of platform. Maybe this is the only way to access the second floor to this building. The next scene is an interesting one. We see Mario and Olivia in a fancy room filled with pipes. So let's sort through this a bit. We can assume this pipe behind Mario is the one they used to enter the room. The floor has a sun-shaped design spanning most of the room. The pipes are numbered 1 through 5 around the center, with the 6th pipe being in the center. They're also color-coded, matching the colors of the ribbons that took the castle. Theoretically, this could mean this is the order of the locations of the game. First, Mario and Olivia go take down the red ribbon, then blue, then yellow, then purple, then green. Once all the ribbons are gone, they would head to the final area. Now, you're very likely able to get to these areas without the pipes, so these are most likely for quick travel to these locations after completing the areas. The design in this room is very fancy, however, and makes me think that perhaps this is that museum seen in Toad Town. Instead of collecting something, these are where the quick travel pipes are. After all, Toad Town seems to be the central hub once again, given how many ways to leave it there are. If this is that museum-like building though, where's the entrance? What else could be here if you have to get here from that first pipe by Mario? We're then shown a quick scene of Mario fishing up a giant Cheep Cheep. This appears to be in a grassy location, but it's hard to tell where. There's a Koopa Troopa behind Mario cheering for him. We also see a question mark block just behind him. The next clip is our first look at the battle system. However, I'm going to skip this for now and come back to it, as I'll be going very in-depth into it, using the look we get at it from this trailer and other gameplay that's been put out. The next scene brings us back to the Purple Desert. This appears to be a town of Sniffets, with a bit of an Arabian theme as we can see from this building back here. Several buildings are lined in neon, with neon Sniffet signs above them. We can see a variety of colors for the Sniffets too. There's a dark blue one down here, a red one that's possibly a merchant in this stall, another blue one and a green one over here, and a yellow one by this tree, and some pink ones up by the doors. Looking on the left side, it's a bit hard to make out, but this seems to be a body of water, so this is very likely an oasis town. Next to the save block is a large golden statue of a Sniffet, though it doesn't really seem to have any significance aside from being a spectacle, much like the rest of this town. We can see some question mark blocks up by the large building, as well as over here behind the statue. At this point, Mario has 110 HP, and interestingly, the bag icon is not glowing. Our next look is at another interesting method of travel, by boat. Here, we can see the player has full control over the boat and its motions. You can boost forward with ZR, check the sea chart with L, which is very likely just a map, return back to town with B, likely that harbor in Toad Town, and even dive with the down button on the left Joy-Con. The fact that the boat can dive is actually rather interesting. We can't see any sort of obstacle here that would require diving, but it's certainly curious what reason there could be. Anyway though, we can see a question mark shaped island over here, and pulling up to the docks likely transitions to the actual island. Given this kind of movement, it's safe to say there's probably several islands you can sail to. Mario's health is a bit higher here too, at 130 HP, and that bag icon is glowing yet again. We can also tell that this ship isn't simply a minigame, as unlike the gondola before, it does not have its own health. The next clip is a short yet familiar one. We've got Mario back down to 50 HP in a dungeon, with Bowser doing his best to follow him around. Based on the clothespin here, this is clearly the room Bowser was held in, likely having just been rescued by Mario here. There really isn't much else to say about this clip. We're then taken to a hot scorching lava location. We can see that Mario's keeping to a thin path, having to avoid the flames spewed from these statues. Well, they may not be statues, they appear to be moving as they shoot fire, so perhaps they're actually some sort of origami creature? There's something else interesting about this scene, though. Mario is at 70 out of 120 HP, and the bag icon below the HP is rather different. It's now more of a yellow color instead of green, and the angle of the bag has changed, making it look less full. In fact, if we take a look at every instance of this bag at the same time, we'll find something interesting. It only seems to glow when Mario has a partner or some sort of companion following him, save for this boat scene, as we can't tell if he does or not. The icon also changes, and not just this drastic change in color and perspective of the bag. When we first see the icon, it only has one green color behind the bag icon. The next time, there's another outer ring, almost like it's layered. In the scene with the ship, there's yet another. In this lava scene, it's back to 2, on top of the rest of its changes. Clearly, there's some significance to this bag icon, and it isn't simply tied to an item menu. Maybe the changes are tied to health or some key item in inventory? Maybe it has to do with how many allies or partners or some sort of companions Mario has. It'd be odd that he keeps them all in a bag, but we really don't have any way of knowing right now. I'll skip the next battle scene once again, as I'd like to cover the battle system in one whole section. So, next up is a clip of another cutscene. We have Mario and Olivia surrounded by some ninja stars. Olivia scared, pointing upwards. This appears to be in a dojo of some sorts. As the camera pans up, we can see this large thwomp next to Mario in kabuki makeup. Clinging to the ceiling are a number of origami ninjas, and given the surprise reaction, this is probably the start of a surprise ambush mini-boss battle or something. The next short clip is a bit odd and confusing, as it features a giant creature made out of what appears to be hair ties or rubber bands, marching down some stage steps and a spotlight on it. This might be a boss of some stage show area, perhaps back in the Sniffed Oasis town. It's definitely the strangest scene in this entire trailer in my opinion. Moving on, we see a giant set of origami paper planes attacking Bowser's airship. The collision is causing quite the panic. We can see Mario and Olivia over here, plenty of spikes making up the crew, 2 red Koopa paratroopas, Kamek, Bowser, and Bowser Jr. The airship is likely destroyed, as we can see some crew getting launched overboard, and this would line up with why Mario and Olivia are in the jungle with Kamek and Bowser Jr. We're then shown another short clip of Mario and Olivia on top of a giant origami Koopa rising out of the dirt. It's hard to say exactly where this is, but it's likely a boss. In the scene before the title drop, we see Mario, Olivia, and a laughing Bowser at the base of a long staircase on top of a mountain. We can see from the shadows that something is being built by some blocks. Right before the fade to black, we can see that it appears to be something with chains over lava. So perhaps this is the entrance to Bowser's castle? Bowser does seem to be excitedly laughing, or something. It's a bit hard to tell in this form he's stuck in. The last scene to the reveal trailer shows Mario wearing a papier-mâché recreation of Samus's helmet from the Metroid series. We can see the same for Donkey Kong on the right, as well as a Goomba. This appears to be some sort of storage room, but judging by the design of the room and the outfit that Toad in the background is wearing, this is likely in the same area as the Ninja and Kabuki Thwomp. There's some sort of circuit breaker with switches open on the back wall, but I'm unsure if there's any significance to them. Next to that, though, appears to be a Toad folded up and thrown in the trash. The trailer closes as Olivia talks to Bob-Omb while Mario runs around imitating Samus. It's a charming little scene to end on that I hope we'll see more of. Now, let's take a look at some other footage from the Japanese website. We can see more in this clip from when the ribbons take over Peach's castle. If we pause right here, we can see Mario, Bowser, Olivia, and Origami Peach still on top of the tower balcony. We can also get a much nicer look at that path I mentioned quite some time ago between these 2 towers of the wall. Letting this clip continue, we can see this same group on top of the tower panicking over the ribbons, while Origami Peach simply stands there. We can also see a bit more of this story scene. After the group gets picked up by the Shy Guy and the Koopa Clown Car, the entire castle is lifted up by the ribbons. One of the ribbons hits the clown car, and all of its occupants go flying in various directions. Well, all but the original Shy Guy, who goes on to rescue Bowser and carry on his merry way. The castle is taken to the top of a nearby mountain. We're next shown the Japanese version of when Mario meets Bob-Omb. The significance comes in the following clips, though, where we see him following Mario around like a partner or some sort of companion yet again. First, we see him in this Japanese-style town. This might be the same place where the ninjas are from that other scene. Mario has 70 HP, the bag icon just has its base ring, and it's glowing. We can see a question mark block up here on the right, and something crumpled up and hidden over here on the left. Judging by the white and red here, it might be a Toad, but it's honestly really hard to tell. It doesn't simply look like a decoration, at least. There's a sign over here that seems to show a map of the area as well. We can see from the next clip that it was indeed Bob-Omb that was following Mario through this tall yellow grass, as this clip doesn't show much else new aside from that. Though, we can see a different area here on the left with a fenced path and some stairs upwards. Maybe this is where the gondola lift led off? The final clip related to Bob-Omb has Mario in a room with a treasure chest, a mechanical looking door, and some sort of machine over here, and quite the collection of Princess Peach pictures. While they aren't exactly one-to-one with all the official art, they're representative of each Paper Mario game. We have Paper Mario on the N64, Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door, Super Paper Mario, judging from the square clouds here, Paper Mario Sticker Star, judging by the stickers in the background, Paper Mario Color Splash up here, and finally this big wide one is probably from this game, Paper Mario the Origami King. Mario stares with curiosity at this origami spike before it spits out Bob-Omb, seemingly having been eaten. Origami Spike, or whoever owns this room, has a lot of Peach posters here, putting that Koopa and Petalburg to shame. Okay, we're almost done looking at non-battle clips, but we have just one more to look at here. Luigi's back with his Mario Kart 8 standard cart, driving Mario to Toad Town, almost Double Dash style. Once they pull into town, we get some nice shots of the different areas. We can get a good look at this shop and museum-like building I discussed earlier. That would be the end of the non-battle footage I want to go through, but I still want to go through a bunch of screenshots before going to battle. I won't be going through every single screenshot put out, as some of those are simply stills from the trailers. For the first screenshot, we have Mario reading the invitation from Princess Peach. We can get a nice look at Luigi's cart here too, which has been significantly upgraded from its appearance in Color Splash. We can see little crafty details on this too, such as some uneven folds. There isn't too much to say here, other than it's nice of Luigi to drop his brother off, but why wasn't he invited? The next screenshot has Mario, Olivia, and Bob-Omb fleeing from a bunch of origami and paper mache enemies. We can see origami Goombas, Paragoombas, and Shy Guys, and paper mache Goombas, as well as a Koopa Troopa and a Shy Guy. This appears to be that Japanese-like Ninja Town yet again, judging by the rooftops and fake trees. The next screenshot is a very interesting one. We get a good look at the Sniffet Oasis town in the desert mentioned earlier in the video. Interestingly though, things are different. First off, we can see a bit more, such as a bit more of the actual body of water, some more Sniffets over here on the left, and a Luigi magic lamp? Would interacting with it make Luigi appear? Maybe Luigi's role in this game, outside of dropping Mario off of Toad Town, is reduced to simple here and there little appearances like the previous couple of entries? There appears to be something up in the sky as well, almost looking like an eclipse. It could comedically be a hole in the sky, but the significance of this black circle in the sky is honestly unknown. What's more interesting though is this first building. The sign up top is completely different than in the trailer. In the trailer it's a neon sign with two Sniffets, but here in the screenshot it appears to be advertising an item shop using a wooden billboard sign featuring some neon. We can even see that someone folded up a yellow toad and stuck it to the middle of the sign like a post-it note. Now, if we take this information that there's a stuck yellow toad here, and think, there seems to be a yellow toad stuck out in the desert in the trailer, possibly a red toad in this ninja village, and a blue toad in this trash can, maybe we have to rescue toads throughout our adventure. What are the main toad colors again? Red, yellow, blue, green, and purple. We can also see these various colors in the stands during battle. And what color are the 5 ribbons again? Oh yeah. And look, the stuck yellow toad in the desert matches the yellow ribbon found here as well. What could this mean though? I have a sneaking suspicion that we'll be tasked to find and rescue various toads across the Mushroom Kingdom, not unlike past games, though not quite the same. Rather than simply rescuing them for minigames, like in Mario & Luigi Paper Jam, or the various colored Rescue Squad toads in Color Splash, I believe these may be how you get more toads in your battle audience. There may be good significance to this as well. I'll detail my thoughts on battle when I get to the battle sections, but let me try to tie this together real quick. What if the bag icon is tied to the toads you've rescued? This is just a theory. But what if the bag icon only glows when there's a toad nearby that you have to rescue? With more toads you rescue, the bigger the bag gets. The bigger the bag, the more rewards that come from it, including their presence in the battle crowd. It's impossible to say for now, but that's the most I can pull from collecting toads for it right now. Let's get back to some more screenshots though. The next screenshot appears to be from a cutscene. We can see Mario, Olivia, and Bob-Omb on a ship accompanied by a blue toad, as they not only overlook the sea, but also the big purple ribbon in the sky, stretching out to the horizon. There isn't much else to say about this one, but it's likely when Mario and company first get on the ship. Our next look is at Mario avoiding a line of thwomps. We can see from his HP that this is early in the game, as he also doesn't seem to be joined by anyone. With all the destruction behind him from the thwomps, this is very likely a one-way path. Next up is a bit of a scenic shot of a mountainous path that Mario and Olivia are observing. We can see a Koopa Troopa up here, possibly an ally. There's some origami Goombas around, so some battles are expected. We can see what seems to be a cave opening near this question mark block, and another question mark block over a hole on the ground. Maybe we really do fill these in. Looking up to the top of the hill, we can see some sort of machine that the red ribbon wraps around, as well as what appears to be another treasure chest. To the right, we can see a path down into the cliffside, with what seem to be doors or windows into caves or some sort of building. There's another question mark block up here, and strangely enough, what looks like a flag from the end of Mario levels. Based on what we've seen so far though, this world doesn't seem to be level based, so perhaps this is for something else. The next shot is on the path right outside Toad Town. We can see part of the castle tower walls over here on the right. Mario and Olivia are confronting some Goombas. Given the colorful scraps and coins around, it's likely they just beat a different enemy, perhaps the papier-mâché Goomba, and freed these ones. Either way, they're opting to be friendly with Mario, as paper needs to stick together in a stack. Our next look is from a cutscene, with Mario, Olivia, Kamek, and a worn Bowser Jr. They seem to be lost in a jungle, with Bowser Jr. unsure of the right way to go. This is likely sometime after the airship was attacked. This shot can go right into this next one though, showing Mario in another part of the jungle with Kamek following behind, much like a partner. We can see Bowser Jr. is rolled up and held on Kamek's back. There's some origami patooey plants as well as a question mark block just up ahead. Mario is at 143 out of 150 HP, and the bag icon is rather large and layered with 3 green rings, and is also glowing. Moving on, the next screenshot seems to be a clip from a cutscene, showing Mario dancing with a bunch of papier-mâché Shy Guys in tutus. It appears to be some sort of play or musical, with a large gate in the background. Keeping in the dancing theme though, we're next shown a scene of Mario dancing with a bunch of yellow toads. There's a disco ball up above, and strangely enough, all of these toads have their faces completely cut out. It's certainly eerie. We can see a save block down over here, and right near it is that yellow explorer toad that could potentially be a partner of some sorts. Judging by the architecture and the presence of the explorer toad, this is likely in that desert tower. We're back to the jungle with the next picture though, showing Mario and Kamek, who's still holding on to Bowser Jr., getting chased by a giant chain chomp. We can see a large floating island in the background that's pouring some water somewhere down below. Speaking of giant creatures, the next shot gives us a big look at papier-mâché Gooper Blooper. We have Mario and Bob-Omb standing on some sort of ship deck looking out at this boss. It doesn't seem like the same ship from before though, as the walls are different colors. We can see a bunch of spots on Gooper Blooper that appear to be weak points, namely one of his eyes and the tips of his tentacles. The next screenshot is of the outside of a Toad dojo of some sorts. The sign has Toad dressed like a ninja, and there's several ninja stars. This is very likely the building where the ninjas came from the ceiling. Moving right along, this next one is also pretty quick. A nice serene shot of Mario, Olivia, and Bob-Omb relaxing on a bench in a nice autumn-colored location. This just feels so peaceful, but there really isn't much else to say about it. The next screenshot brings us back to the desert tower with the Explorer Toad, and another look at these creepy, lanky Toad murals. We can see this Explorer following Mario closely behind, looking afraid. Mario has 120 HP, and the bag is glowing, with only 2 layered rings. The last screenshot I want to bring up is back on top of Peach's castle. We can see Mario, Bowser, and Olivia confronting an Origami Goomba, with Princess Peach and the yellow Shy Guy likely being the Origami King Ollie both behind it. We can see that the door is guarded by 2 red Origami Shy Guys. So, that's all the non-battle screenshots and footage, gone over with the magnifying glass and poking at the smallest of details. I must be ready to go over battles now, right? Well, not quite. We're given quite a lot here, and I think it's worth trying to piece together the order of events. It might just show how much we really haven't seen yet. So, to the best of my ability, with what we have, here's the order in which I think everything happens. The game opens up with Luigi driving Mario to Toad Town. Once arriving, Mario reads the invitation from Princess Peach before making his way to the castle. Once entering the castle, he's confronted with a dark cultist question before being dropped into the castle dungeon. Upon this happening, we see that Bowser is locked up and his minions are being taken away for folding as well. At some point here in the castle depths, Mario meets Olivia and discovers the 1000-fold arms ability. While looking for the exit, Mario comes across Bowser and frees him. Bowser follows Mario to the exit, but they end up out on the tower, confronted by origami foes. After defeating these foes, the Origami King reveals himself and starts his plan to take the entire castle. This is when Mario's group escapes with the Koopa Clown car, only to be separated from Bowser and their savior. Mario and Olivia end up somewhere in the outskirts of Toad Town, which we can see from this screenshot on the official Japanese website. They then head back to Toad Town, where they find a large papier-mâché Goomba eating a building. They direct it out of the town and battle it on the path, freeing a bunch of Goombas in the process, who decide it's safer for paper folk to stick together. From here, Mario likely goes back to Toad Town to figure out where to go next. If the colored and numbered pipes are anything to go by, then they first start off heading to the southeast of Toad Town to take out the red ribbon. This is likely in a mountainous area, filled with grasslands, and at some point bringing us to this view of this mountainous path. There isn't much else tied to this red ribbon from existing footage. Maybe this Koopa Troopa here tasks Mario to catch a fish for him, but before doing so they need to pass through some dangerous caverns. So, at some point after the red ribbon, Mario and Olivia return to Toad Town, where they next have to go for the blue ribbon. They go to take the gondola lift up to the mountains, and are stopped by an origami spike that spits out Bob-Omb. You defeat the spike and save Bob-Omb. Then the mechanics over here start functioning, so the gondola lift works again. On the ride up, Mario chats with Bob-Omb, who joins them on their adventure as a thanks for being saved. The gondola lift brings them to the autumn-colored mountain. They explore around in tall yellow grass and other parts of the mountain. At this point, Mario no longer has 50 HP, but 70 HP, because he's leveled up a bit somewhere to earn more HP. We can use Mario's health as a way to count plot progression. Somewhere in this autumn-colored mountain, they find a ninja town, likely before the river since the ribbon is nowhere in sight here. The ninja town being here makes sense with Mario's HP, as well as bag size icon matching up with the other autumn area scenes. Plus, there's this flag here with autumn-colored leaves. So, Mario and company come here to this ninja town. Somewhere in town, they find this storage room with blue toads and a papier-mâché reference. If the toads need to be found and rescued, and tie into the ribbon colors, then it makes even more sense that this ninja town is on the autumn mountain. At some point here, they find the ninja dojo and enter it. This is where the ninja ambush happens, and as the party escapes to some other exit, they get ambushed by the rest of the origami and papier-mâché foes. After rescuing this town, they continue on their goal and find a river that follows the blue ribbon, and make their way down it with the help of a blue toad that can row for them. Perhaps he comes from the ninja town, and this is his way to repay you for your help there. There's some jumps, but next by order of the pipe would be yellow ribbon. This brings Mario and company to the desert. At some point while exploring the desert, Mario comes across a shoe with wheels to drive in to traverse the desert sands. He goes to a Sniffed Oasis town to figure out more about where to go next, rescue some toads, and deal with trouble here. We can see during this area Mario has 110 HP while exploring the Sniffed Oasis town, then 120 HP while exploring the tower with the explorer. The end goal of this area is likely the tower, which is where Mario meets up with this explorer and solves the mystery of the dancing, faceless yellow toads. It's possible this tower is just one stop though, as we do see the ribbon continuing into the distance here. This volcanic section could also be part of this whole desert area, given Mario's HP and bag icon size matching the tower scene, despite the other changes to the bag icon. Jumping forward a bit, after completing the yellow ribbon, the group would then head back to Toad Town to follow the fourth ribbon, taking them to the docks and onto a ship. We can see while sailing that Mario's HP is now at 130. At some point while sailing the seas, they come across a giant papier-mâché Goober Blooper to fight as a boss. Unfortunately, there isn't much more to go off of for the purple ribbon. That then brings us to the green ribbon. Perhaps this one Mario and Olivia can't reach on their own, so they go consult Bowser at his castle. Something happens, and Bowser accompanies Mario and Olivia to look at one of his airships. Everyone boards it, but then it's attacked by giant origami paper airplanes, eventually destroying the ship or knocking most everyone off of it. Mario ends up stranded in this jungle with Kamek and Bowser Jr. After the wreckage, Bowser Jr. is too beaten up to help, so Kamek carries him around. After exploring and trying to find where they need to get to, including getting chased by a chain chomp, they end up in a hot spring, which Bowser Jr. uses to rejuvenate himself. The jungle section has Mario at 150 HP, and this would be the green ribbon matching the 5th pipe. Sometime after this, Mario would use the 6th pipe, the grey one, to head to Peach's castle. It's hard to say what happens from here, as that's pretty much most of the footage and screenshots so far. That being said, that's a decent amount of the overarching plot and main story seemingly outlined from what we have so far. Now, it's time we talk about the battle. If you've skipped to this point, I'll be referring to earlier portions at times as I try to piece all of this together, so please bear with me. Paper Mario, the Origami King, brings yet another approach to the battle system. Instead of expendable cards or stickers, or simplistic turn-based RPG format, there's additional mechanics to add a puzzling element. Battles take place on a 360-degree battlefield where enemies can be all around Mario. Laid out similar to a dartboard, Mario stands in the center. The goal is to line up as many enemies as possible, which increases Mario's attack power. It seems Mario is limited in how many pieces of the ring he can move in total each turn. But that piece of the ring can be moved as much as one likes. We can see the controls down at the bottom. First, it seems that you use the L and R buttons, as well as the left stick, to change which part of the ring is highlighted. Once making a selection, you move sections of the ring using the left stick and the camera with the right stick. There's a timer to make your decision to change the battlefield, but it seems you can use your coins to extend that timer. After lining up the battlefield as desired, Mario can choose to do a jump attack or a hammer attack. Right now, he only has access to the default jump and likely the same for the hammer. We can see a description of the move down here. This doesn't appear to be any sort of card or sticker-like attack from the previous game, as there's no count of amount for the attack. We do see Mario use shiny boots in the trailer, though. At the very least, it seems a basic jump and hammer will always be available to use. Let's back up a bit though. Before selecting any movement to the field, we can also see some other options down here on the right. Despite a help button being available with the minus button as seen at the bottom, pressing X gives a hint from Olivia, while pressing B flees the battle. The Y button seems to be a cheer, but I don't think this is the same as appealing to the crowd in Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door. If you watched up to this point, you may recall the spotlight I put on the various colored toads that seem to be in need of rescue, and your crowd here in battles. Seeing from this screenshot here, the crowd is rather empty. As we can see in footage, sometimes they'll talk and say silly little things. Could that really be it though? If there's a whole cheer button with the icon of a toad, there must be more to it than simply the audience. Nintendo has been very, very careful with this, as they have hardly shown anything of the battles. In fact, the only footage that showed something different, which was the Chinese trailer showing that Explorer Toad accompanying Mario in battle, was taken down. Could this hint at a bigger role to these companions than simply following Mario on the overworld? To return to the cheer button though, the crowd seems to play an important role here. It could be as simple as having the crowd cheer grants Mario some coins and items, but we have no way of knowing right now. We can see in the trailer that at one point, when Mario has 150 HP and is fighting both Fire and Boomerang Bros, he has a much larger crowd than before. It's obvious that there's a lot more depth to the battle system than Nintendo wants us to know right now, so it's hard to say much more than this. Now that we've talked about the battle system, let's try to answer a big question. Does this play like Paper Mario Sticker Star and Paper Mario Color Splash with limited use for every attack, such as cards or stickers? Well, at the very least, we know it isn't stickers, as we would have seen them around by now. Based on the attack menu, we can see their spots for various kinds of jumps and hammer attacks. We know there's items from both official art and screenshots, such as fire flowers and ice flowers, but it's unknown where in this menu they would fit. Between the shiny boots used by Mario in battle, as well as what seems to be this battle item shop in Toad Town, it's really hard to say exactly how it'll function. We've covered plenty here today, but rest assured that this is clearly far from everything the game has to offer. There's tons of unanswered questions, especially surrounding the battle system. I'm sure we'll know before too long, though. I think it's perfectly fine to be excited for this game, because I certainly am. Despite that, with the uncertainties within the battle system, partners, and several other aspects, it may be best to remain cautiously optimistic until we see more. Paper Mario the Origami King unfolded before us all just days ago, and soon we'll have it in our own hands as the game releases in just a couple months on July 17th. Make sure to stick a nice bookmark in this chapter though to see how our analysis holds up by then. You can bet we'll be covering any additional information on the game and reviewing it once it's in our hands. Before we go, I'd like to give a very special thanks to all of our patrons. If you like this video, give us a like. Want to share your thoughts on the reveal of Paper Mario the Origami King, or anything covered in this analysis? Leave a comment below, or let us know on Twitter or Discord, which you can find the links to in the description. Make sure to subscribe to Source Gaming for more, and always remember to return to the source.